Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charney. This is another church in the Shropshire Hills. This is the wonderfully historic Church of St James, Cardington. It has 12th century origins, been enlarged and altered, of course, in the subsequent centuries. There's a number of interesting things to be seen here, as in all historic churches, including an interesting Jacobean pulpit. They're quite good at Jacobean pulpits around here, and some interesting memorials. So, without further ado, let's have a look around. As usual, we start at the west end here. Of course, is where you're supposed to start the church. That's why the font is back here. Now, this font is Victorian, but it's essentially a sort of 13th century style design. Quite a nice, big, chunky font, not one of it. And also it's nice and plain, it hasn't got any marble inlay or anything like that, which suits a church like this. The roof is quite good. I mean, look at that lovely medieval roof, 14th century by the look of it. And of course down the middle we have the oil lamps. Now, it's lit by electricity, but of course back in the day that lighting would be by oil lamps, and you've got these ones down the middle. You can see the brackets for them, but they've been taken away, and after all, why not? The oil lamps that would be down the sides as well. We have here, you can see here, a little piece of stone to be part of the old clock face, or believed to be so, probably 18th century. And it was found beneath the vestry floor, like you do. Again, very, very nice. You can see the rood beam there. There isn't a chancel arch, although there is a division between nave and chancel. You can see there's two pillars and then that beam there, and the chancel roof is quite distinct from the nave roof. Often nave and chancel were different people responsible for them. We've got here Stephen Thomas, the only man from the parish to be killed in the Second World War. This is a benefaction board. This tells us that Roger Mansell, late of Cardington, deceased. So near this place lies late of Cardington, deceased. He died Monday, the 8th of March, 1651, and did out of his pious disposition by his last will in writing leave lands to the value of £1, 6 shillings and 8pence yearly to this parish for ever, to be disposed of as follows: 3 years to be laid out in bread for the poor, 3 years in wine for communion, and the 7th year for an ornament to the church. Now, obviously, the value of that has so gone down that it's not worth very much at all now. More memorials. William Minton there, Frederick Channer, Caulfield. They were big local family. I got this nice Jacobean pulpit. They're quite good at Jacobean pulpits around here. See, we are more Cornfield. We've got Frederick Vernon Caulfield Knight. Sorry, Caulfield, not Cornfield. Caulfield Knight, 1915 to 2005. Privy Councillor, Queen's Counsel, MP 1956 to 1974. Captain Royal Artillery, POW, 1939 to 45. So he didn't get out of France by the look of it. Farmer, author, and his wife, Ruth, 1909 and 2010, formerly of Chatwall Hall. As John Witts, who for 38 years was a resident vicar of this parish. This was quite unusual at the time, because he died in 1816, when non-residency was quite normal, and essentially plurality. You have 3 or 4 parishes and live in one of them, and have curates for the rest. The pulpit is interesting because it is adorned with mermaids. Ideas as to what is suitable. Wonderfully crude pictures, of course, but still, they are mermaids. Lectern, eagle lectern, Victorian. And so we process into the chancel. This too has quite a nice roof. And we've got a very nice ceramic reredos here, probably produced in Stoke-on-Trent by Minton, as they did these things. And then up here we have well, first of all, got a nice east window. There is the risen Christ with the Virgin Mary and St. John the Evangelist. Do this in remembrance of me. And here we have the Glory of God in affectionate memory of Violet Christie, born February the 7th, 1880, died November 27th, 1913. Also her husband, Stephen Henry Christie, DSO, Distinguished Service Order, captain of the 20th Hussars of Place Hall in this parish, was killed in action while serving with the British Expeditionary Force in France on September the 3rd, 1914, aged 35 years. The east window is erected by some of their friends. So again, another reminder of this fact that it's the junior officers, the gentry, who proportionately suffer more than any other class in the First World War, because every assault, every going over the top, you need a junior officer to lead it, and so they suffer proportionately more than any other class, more even the private soldiers. Of course, in the Navy, if a ship gets sunk, well, everyone's pretty much in it together, but it is the stokers down in the hull, down in the bottom of the ship, running the engines, the engineers, who tended to get killed, if nobody else was. But here we are, the grand memorial here. This is memorial to William Leighton of Plash, so Plash Hall again, Chief Justice of North Wales, and one of the council in the Marches of Wales. So this is one of your top local judges in the Welsh Marches and North Wales. He dies in 1607, and he's shown, of course, in his judge's outfit, his robes as a judge, and there below we have his daughters here. One daughter died young, you can see she's shown as an infant resting on a skull, and then the others, well, you've got three daughters, and then I presume his wife in the front, given the different hats in particular. And then his three sons, they're a bit difficult to see with this in the way, but the sons, you've got one in front is in armour, which would suggest at this date that he was actually serving in the military, and the other two are in black civilian clothes with short capes. Here we have St. Peter on the Raridasan. Holy, 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 sanctus, sanctus, sanctus in Latin. Evidence of a bit of high churchmanship. I mean, that is a very high church thing to see, this lamp that says that the sacrament is reserved here. We've got a 14th century, by the look of it, double piscina with these quatrefoil drains. One thing that can be quite interesting in piscinas is the way the drains are arranged. And here we have a memorial to the Reverend William Jones Hughes, well, obviously a Welshman with a name like that, 46 years vicar of this parish, died September 19th, 1865, aged 77 years, and of Selina, wife of the above, daughter of George Courser of Bletchley and Whitchurch in this county. She died January the 23rd, 1827, aged 36 years. Also George Courser, son of the above, William Jones and Selina Hughes, who died April the 11th, 1841, aged 15 years, looking for the mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ unto eternal life. Also William Jones Hughes, eldest son of the above, who died October the 14th, 1867, aged 47 years. It's quite common for Welsh clergy to end up, well, not in Wales, particularly if they're evangelicals at that date. See here, there's the pulpit with its base. At one point it would have been part of a three-decker, but that has long since been taken down. So there we have the inside here. It's a lovely building. You can see there the organ pipes clustered at the back, and the console is here at the front. So again, it's detached organ console. Well, we'll have a look around the outside now. Actually, before that, I've just noticed that on these pews you've got carving, which indicates that parts of the old box pews have been retained. There's no dates here, but the fact that you've got these carving, and why would you have this? Well, I suspect that the answer is that this is actually in part to do with the families still being in the village, because obviously you've got the Caulfield and such like, these long-lasting parish families, and want to keep bits of the old box pews, but also it's a little bit of recycling, isn't it? Before we go outside, we're in the porch here. There's a lovely door carving on it. You can see these holes. It's not woodworm. That's where things were pinned to it. And so said when we read about Martin Luther fixing the 95 Theses to the church door, we have to remember that this isn't some radical action. This is simply the church door is the notice board. And it's just if I can back out here through the porch. Yes, I can. And you can see here a nice carved Norman doorway. And so here we are outside. It's a lovely long building. You can't see in terms of the roof the division between nave and chancel, even in terms of the actual any change in the wall line. We'll see when we go around the outside. You can definitely see where it's happened. So let's have a look around the outside, shall we? Now we notice a number of things here on the outside. First of all, you look at the tower, and there is the weathercock and the clock showing that this is the accurate time. The porch looks to be 17th century. You'll see the tower has some plaster on it. Now that's quite authentic for the lower part, and the upper part is, the lower part is going to be 12th century, maybe 13th century. The upper part is 15th century and is quite different stonework, and that's supposed to be left exposed. Now you can see here, you've got one Norman window. You see the little rounded topped lancet there, and then you've got an archway. It is broken, which would suggest actually that there was a chapel out there once, and you can then see there's a line between the nave and the chancel, and the nave stonework is much rougher. So the 12th century church would have a little chancel, and then it's got a much bigger chancel put on perhaps in the 13th century. That's usually when these big chancels are put on, because there's a change in the liturgy, and the liturgy of the altar becomes much more elaborate, and requires, or is felt to require, a much more elaborate chancel. So that's where you get a lot of these 13th century chancels. It's quite rare to find a 12th century church without a later chancel added. You do find them. You do find them, but chancels on the whole extended in the 13th century, just because the liturgy changes. North side, plainer of course, very nice tower there. We'll stroll down here. We've got good yew trees, good collection of gravestones. Here we have the priest's door, which means that the priest's house would have been on this side. Not always where the later rectory is. There you can see very much that break. You've even got these stones that show, the coins that show this was where the church ended, and now it doesn't. And some of them have been keyed in again. North door, tiny bit of herringbone masonry by the north door there. And that again is an early indicator. And I mean, I say north door, this must have been the north priest's door before the chancel was added. You can see there's another Norman window up there, and it's a normal location. They're usually small and high up. And this is the original north door, and it has this whacking great, really quite primitive and very plain tympanum at the top of this red sandstone. Very interesting. And I mean, it's not unique, but it is quite unusual to find something like this. And of course, oil tank, because these out here, how do you fire your central heating? Well, the answer is generally oil-fired, whether it's the house or the church. So, and heating is very important, much more so today than it used to be. I mean, people used to be expected just to turn up at church and freeze a bit, but you can't do that now, and quite right too, I would say. So there we are, right the way back to that lovely porch. And so there you have it, St James, Cardington. It's a very picturesque setting here, and the Shropshire Hills are very much worth visiting for all kinds of reasons. Well, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, I enjoy a nice day out up here in the Shropshire Hills. So thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until the next time.